Chase, what are you here for?
We're here promoting a documentary that we're releasing April 9th at Rockingham Community College in Wentworth, North Carolina. The documentary is about the labor shortage. It's about industry having a hard time finding workers right now, since COVID especially. There's a national shortage of labor. And what we've discovered is that there's one really unusual reason why that is, that people don't usually think of, and that is lack of access to childcare. In Rockingham County, since COVID, we've had over 4 centers close. And right now, we've got families who want to go back to work, and they can't because they don't have anywhere to take their kids. So we're shining light on this issue. It is a national issue, the childcare crisis, but we're hyper-localizing it. We're coming to Rockingham County, talking to industry leaders, government leaders, childcare center owners to try and figure out what we can do to solve the problem to get people back to work.
This is what I love about Star News. We are hyper local. That's what we do. So I'm super interested in this situation. What did you learn yourself in doing this?
Several things. I think one of the most important things I learned is that the child care centers aren't making any money. I think that this is a popular misconception because tuition is really expensive. You're going to pay $200, $300, $400 a week to put your kid up in a child care center. And so we all think that the center directors and center owners are getting rich. And it turns out that after payroll, expenses, etc., they're not making money. They're living on subsidy at the moment. Post-COVID, we've had some relief money filter down through the state and federal government that has expired now. And without that money, these centers are literally losing money. So they're closing down their infant classrooms because infant classrooms are the most expensive to operate. And entire centers are closing because they can't afford to stay in business. So a big takeaway from me was that these centers, despite charging a lot of money, still are not making money. And so that would make sense why they're closing if it's not a profitable business. Another piece is just the ignorance of the child care crisis altogether. Prior to starting this documentary journey, I was not aware that we had a child care crisis. I didn't know that that was a thing. Since then, I found out that it has been a thing for quite some time. We've had national news coverage from CNN to Fox News. Everybody has covered the child care crisis up to this point. And at the moment, everybody's...
Not locally, though.
No, not locally. And that's... I learned hyper-local from you, right. And how important it is to localize these issues. It's one thing to see them talking about the child care crisis on Fox News or CNN from D.C. or from California or from New York, but now we're going to the Rockingham County Center for Business Development. You know, we're talking to local government leaders, industry leaders, families from our county, from Rockingham County, and proving that this national issue is not just something from the West Coast or from up north, but we're dealing with it here as well.
Now, what impresses me, because I cover local all the time, is that there's a group of people that are organized to look at a way to solve this. That's amazing. How is this going on in Rockingham County?
It is amazing, and I just have to give so much love to the Rockingham County Partnership for Children. These ladies there have been doing this work for years.
They feel it.
They feel it, and they've been doing the work, not just talking about it, but literally getting out there and doing the action without recognition. You know, they're out there doing the hard work and trying to bring attention to this issue and do what they can to fix it, and nobody even gives them any attention. So that's one exciting bit about this documentary as well, is just we're generating some buzz. We've got you here on Star News talking about it. That's fantastic. Yeah. Thank you so much. And generating buzz in the community for the issue. So I'm here to promote the premiere, which is April 9th at RCC at 6:30. But it's really want to promote the issue. You know, we're excited about the documentary, and we hope everybody will go to rockinghamkids.org/an unusual reason to RSVP for the event. But it's really not about the doc. It's more about the issue. It's more about how many industry leaders in our area can come together and have this conversation with us, and how many more people can we get. What we figured out is nobody can fix it by themselves. So we need industry leaders, government leaders, families, church leaders. We need a collaboration of people to come together to fix it. And we don't have all the answers right now. We don't have all the answers, but we're excited to get more people talking about it.
Will part 2 be we've solved it?
Oof. It's a tough issue. It's a tough issue. It is possible to solve. And I think this is on the road to it. So prior to the documentary, it may have been difficult to get certain members of government to talk about it or acknowledge it. The same thing with industry leaders. But since we've been promoting the premiere of this doc, some new players have come to the table because they feel pressure. Because now
You're gonna shame them a little bit.
you have to do what you have to do, right?
Right.
So if we've left emails and left phone calls and they still won't come to the table, what's the next diplomatic thing to do?
Right.
And that's just pressure, peer pressure.
Right. I'm getting ready to talk to some of the commissioner candidates that are back in the race, and I'm kind of interested to see what they got to say. Right now, they have been kind of not very vocal, right?
Not very vocal. There's a moment in the documentary where a bunch of the partnership ladies and community advocates as well show up to a commissioner meeting for public comment. And some of us felt like maybe they were a little bit, I don't know if cold or dismissive is the right word, but disinterested for sure. And I'll tell you, leading up to the meeting, the director from the partnership tried to touch base with every one of the commissioners on the phone, and she left voicemails, several with each, and only 2 of the 5 followed up with her. So they could work on that a little bit. We've got an issue that affects both families and industry recruitment. So this seems like an issue that that you could get behind regardless of whether you're traditionally liberal or conservative. It fits both ends of the spectrum. And so we do think that the commissioners most likely are going to tune into the doc because they're in it. So they want to see what we're talking about. And so
A little tease here.
yeah, it's making an impact. I do think it's making an impact.
All right. Your production company, CCT, is this your biggest project to date?
It's among the biggest projects to date. This is, I would call it the first true documentary from us. And it's still a short, it's going to time out about 40 minutes.
Yep.
So it's not a 90-minute documentary. But I would say that this is probably the widest scope of a project that we've done in terms of talking to so many different people from so many different areas. And the project's going on about a year of production now.
Yeah.
So it is a big project, and we're excited to share it.
Is this going to be more of a future for you doing these kind of docs? Is this kind of the direction you want to go?
I hope so.
Right.
I hope so.
You want a little bit bigger budgets, that kind of thing?
Bigger budgets are good. Documentary storytelling, when I consume media, it's usually doc. And so I love the documentary format. And they can actually like enact change in the world. One of my first experiences with a doc changing something was my mother, who for my entire life, let's see, she didn't think cannabis could be medicine. Okay. And
Right.
And she had different family members and other people trying to explain to her. And for 40 years of her life, she wouldn't give it a chance. She watches one Netflix documentary about cannabis, and it changes her entire life. And that's interesting to me, how a successful documentary project can change somebody's long-standing beliefs.
Tradition and everything, right?
Yeah, tradition, long-standing beliefs, and watch one well-produced documentary story and make you change your entire like lifetime's belief. Right. So it's an extremely powerful tool for persuading people, and you use it for good. You know, we're talking about the childcare crisis.
Right.
We're doing God's work on this, and just one interesting way to change.
Right. And for folks that want documentaries, they need to call CCT, right?
Yeah, I think so. Look,
Yeah.
and I just have to say this one more time. RockinghamKids.org
Right.
/An Unusual Reason. That's the name of the documentary, An Unusual Reason. The premiere is April 9th. It's at 6:30 p.m. at Rockingham Community College. You must RSVP to enter. At this moment, we've got almost 100 RSVPs, and I think the auditorium fits 220.
Right.
So
So
by April 9th, I would love to get closer to that max capacity. And regardless of whether you make the premiere or not, Star News
Yeah.
is going to air the documentary.
Yeah.
As well as you'll be able to find it on Rockingham County Partnerships for Children social media, website, things like that. But you can find it right here on TV at Star News.
Awesome. Give yourself a grade on this project. I mean, I know you put your all into it. I know that's always difficult, but I always like to ask you a tough question. You know, how do you feel like did you put 100% into it?
I put 100% into it. I put more than 100%. Is that a thing? Can you put more than 100%?
Absolutely.
All right, I put more than 100%. There's still, I can never be satisfied.
Yeah.
I can never be satisfied.
Right.
So there's still room to grow. And as of recording, we're recording this on, can we timestamp it? February 20th.
Yeah.
We're recording this on February 20th. The documentary final version is not complete.
Right.
So that's some interesting behind the scenes as well. Things are changing. As this has been such an interesting process, as you talk to more folks in positions of power and the word gets around, some people that originally didn't want anything to do with it now might have the discussion because they know that it's real. We're not just talking. We have a premiere. We have a lot of people RSVPing.
Well, I'm shaking it up next week.
Appreciate it. So
Yeah.
I understand that you're going to be talking to some county commissioner candidates in Rockingham County. It's an important question to ask them because I don't care which side you're on. Industry recruitment and the workforce is an incredibly important issue all the time. And now we've identified one of the reasons why industries in the county are having a hard time finding workers is because the younger people that want to work can't because they can't take their kids anywhere.
And kids are more important than work to a lot of people.
Kids are more important than work. You've said it. Now, kids are more important than work. But the issue of childcare or the issue of children might fall on deaf ears. This is sad, but the issue of children might fall on deaf ears where the issues of industry concerns or labor force perk ears up, if you know what I mean. There's a certain class of government leaders, of elected officials, that industry is their issue, the only issue. Big business is their issue. Workers is the only issue. So it was important for us not to hyper focus on childcare alone. Obviously, childcare is going to be a byproduct of telling this story because it's about childcare, but really what it's about for us is workforce issues, labor issues. We can't get people to work, and this is a big reason why.
Thank you.
Cool. You're welcome.
Okay.
Appreciate you.
All right.